Example 6. Write an equation of the perpendicular bisector of the segment with endpoints P at -2, 3 and Q 4, 1. So why don't we start with what we're given and then we'll look at this a little closer. So first of all, we have P is at -2, 3. So -2, 3, and that's P. Then Q is at 4, 1, and that's Q. Then if you have a ruler, it would be really great to use it. Try to get the straightest line that you can. And there's our line. Now, we need the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so think about that. We're going to need the equation of a line, and I'm just going to rough hand here. First of all, that is perpendicular to this line, and then that also bisects it, which means cuts it in half. So the easier part here might be to figure out how to cut this line in half. Now, this particular line, not that bad. You could probably figure it out. If you're eyeballing it, most of you are probably thinking it's at 1, 2, which it is, okay? But the way we find the middle of a line or the bisector of a line is we find the midpoint. Okay, because sometimes that point's not going to lie on a very nice place. And the way you find the midpoint is you find the middle. So you take the x1 plus the x2 and you cut it in half. It's kind of like an average. And then you take the y1 plus the y2 and you cut it in half. Okay, kind of like an average. So if I wanted to actually find the midpoint of that line, my x-coordinate would be -2 plus 4. And then I would cut it in half. My y-coordinate would be 3 plus 1, and then I would cut it in half. So if we did this, I'd be looking at -2 plus 4 is 2, cut in half is 1, and then 3 plus 1 is 4, cut in half is 2. So I know that my midpoint is over 1 up 2, which is right where we put it. Okay, now, we know that that's where it's bisected, but I also need it perpendicular. So if I'm kind of rough-handing here, I'm looking for a line that looks something like that, because perpendicular means it's going to hit here at a 90-degree angle. Well, in order to get absolutely perpendicular, remember we need to know something about the slope. And slope is like rise over run. So the slope of this particular line, I would rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. So my rise over run is 1 over, and then this is actually backwards 3, so -3. So my slope of the line is -1/3. Well, we want a perpendicular line. So perpendicular slope, remember, is the opposite reciprocal. So I really want the slope of this dotted black line. So we're going to take the -1, 3, we're going to flip the sign. So we're going to have a positive. And then we're going to take 1/3, and we're going to flip it upside down, so we're just going to have 3. So if I really wanted to graph this line, I would come out of my dot and I would go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, which is roughly where I have it. And then I go down 1, 2, 3 over 1, and then down 1, 2, 3 over 1. And then I would get my nice straight line and I would connect them. And then on the ends, I would put some arrows. And then I know this is perpendicular. And then the last thing I have to do is write the equation. Well, it's a line, so we're going to have y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to have y equals m, which is my slope. So remember, the slope of the original line was -1/3, but we did the perpendicular line, so we're going to put 3x plus B is your y-intercept. So we're going to look at this line. And where does this line hit the y-axis? Well, it hits the y-axis right here at -1. So actually I'm going to get rid of that plus. And I'm just going to put -1. And this would be the equation of your perpendicular bisector.